Hello, welcome to Michigan International Speedway here in Brooklyn, Michigan. And here we are for the regular season finale here for Great Lakes Truck Series presented by Patti Engineering for the Patti Engineering 200, 100 laps around Michigan. To end the regular season, we're going to figure out who makes the playoffs officially tonight. Take a quick look at the point standings coming into tonight, the playoff grid, if you will. Seven drivers already locked into the playoffs. You have William Barbagelata first in the points, Ross Brockman second, Shane Neiswanger in third, Gavin Fitzgerald in fourth, Elliot Henderson, Matthew Rodriguez, and Ashton Lawson. Those are the 7 drivers locked in to the playoffs coming in tonight. And there's a couple of drivers that are just barely in top 12, make it into the playoffs, and eighth in the points coming into tonight is Nathan Nicholson, 29 points above the cut line. Ninth in points, you have Zachary Henry, 26 points above the cut line, and Christopher Heller, 24 points above the cut line. It's very interesting for those 3 drivers because those 3 drivers have been the cream of the crop all season long. They've been battling it out for the points lead all season long, but because of the drivers with wins, they go above them. In 11th spot, you have Jake Miller, 14 points to the good. And then right there on the bubble, Mr. Pink, Mr. Consistent, Eric Kepf is the driver on the bubble. And the first driver out, Austin Moore, in the number 91, 13th, only 10 points out. And then this is the most interesting driver I'm saying outside of the bubble, and that's 14th place, Hunter Madolinas. Hunter Madolinas was a championship favorite coming into this season, and the driver of the number 9, Monster Energy Ford. He was a championship favorite coming into this season. Last season, he had the most wins. This season, he has no wins, and he's 15 points outside of the playoffs coming into the cutoff race. So we're definitely going to be keeping our eyes on the closer, Hunter Madolinas, and seeing if he can maybe get into the playoffs. 15th in points, you got Hunter Brittle, who's looking to make the playoffs for the second straight season. Hunter Brittle, driver of the number 10 for Dark Horse Motorsports, comes into this race 18 points away from the cut line, 18 points back of Eric Kepf. And then 16th in points, Jordan Gonzalez. He's the last driver mathematically eligible to get in by points. 29 points outside of the cut line. Jordan Gonzalez, of course, driver for 2511 Racing, spent most of the season in the playoffs, in the top 12, the driver of that number 3, Jordan Gonzalez. And now he finds himself on the outside after two bad starts after Milwaukee and Talladega. Did not have the finish he wanted the last 2 weeks, the driver of the number 3 machine, and he's really looking to rebound here today, and he's doing a good job of it, starting on the front row, starting in second. At this point, he can make it in by points, Jordan Gonzalez, but I think he's really looking for a win in that number 3 machine. As they're coming out of turns 3 and 4, the lights will go out on the pace truck this time by, and we will go green flag racing next time by here at Michigan International and figure out who will make the playoffs for the 2022 A season of the Great Lakes Truck Series presented by Patti Engineering. As the starting grid runs on the bottom of your screen, there's just a couple of drivers that we're really going to need to watch out for tonight. One driver in particular is Zachary Henry. Zachary Henry, who's led the points most of the season. He's starting in that 3rd spot. You see him right there in the number 12 machine in the 2nd row. I've been hearing that he's actually racing from a hotel room in Germany right now. So he's putting it all on the line to try to make sure he locks up a spot for the playoffs, the driver that's number 12. A couple of weeks ago, it seemed like he was a lock for the playoffs already, just right there, and did not have a good week last week in Milwaukee, not the week he wanted, and now he's right there looking to lock himself into the playoffs here tonight. Half a lap away from going green flag racing. Another driver to keep in mind, Jake Miller, another championship hopeful, and he spent most of the season outside of the top 12. He got inside the top 12 last week with a good performance at Milwaukee. He's only 14 points to the good. So he needs to keep that race car clean and keep himself in the race all night long if he wants to get himself into the playoffs. Here they come off turns 3 and 4. And we're going to take the green flag here at Michigan International Speedway for the end of the regular season. And the number 83 of Bronson Stafford is going to lead him down to the green flag as it's in the air for Stafford. A great start from Stafford, has already a decent gap on Gonzalez and the number 12 of Zachary Henry. They battle in behind him. Gonzalez has already cleared the number 12 of Henry, drops down into the second spot. Gonzalez needs a great night. He needs to go out there and try to win this race and get himself into the playoffs. And he's already jumping to the inside of Stafford, getting to the inside of the Sky Motorsports machine, the driver of the number 3 of Jordan Gonzalez. He's going to take the lead going into 3 and 4. Can he clear the 83 of Stafford? His teammate in the number 12 of Zachary Henry looks to follow him through. Jordan Gonzalez will take the race lead and lead lap number 1. Great job from Gonzalez. Now he has his teammate of Zachary Henry right behind him. He also has Matt Daniels right behind him as well. 3 25-11 drivers right there. Christopher Heller not too far behind as well. 25-11 looking to have a good start here in Michigan. Henry's trying to come in front of Stafford, and he will on the back straightaway come in front of Stafford. Now here comes Daniels in the number 5, trying to come to the inside of the number 83 of Stafford. He's looking to bring Heller with him. There's some good battling here in the opening laps of the regular season finale, the Patti Engineering 200 here at Michigan International. Daniels looking to clear the number 83 of Stafford going into 1 and 2, the driver of that number 5 machine. He is clear of Stafford. Will he come up? He will. He will come up on Stafford, and Stafford's going to try to cut through the middle as Daniels almost gets into the wall. Stafford going to try to pull the crossover move to the inside. Stafford will jump right back in front of Daniels before they get into 3 and 4. Daniels now peeking to the high side, looking to see if he can get the high side working, but here comes Heller to the inside, his teammate, the driver of the number 11 machine. And here comes Brandon Burkuski in the 25. 25-11, looking super strong early. All 5 of their drivers are up here in the top 6 right now. 25-11 racing. Here's the onboard look. Here's the onboard look of Christopher Heller as he's trying to get around his teammate of Matt Daniels as Stafford's caught back up to Henry, and he's going to make a move for second. Here comes Bronson Stafford coming into 3 and 4, looking to take away the second position from Zachary Henry. Henry just needs to be focused on having himself a clean night. If he can get himself to the end without getting into any wrecks, he should be okay for the playoffs. A little loose off of the corner, the number 12. He's able to keep it straight for the most part as they're battling in behind him as well. Gonzalez is looking to check out in that number 3 machine. Some pretty heavy battling going on in the back of the pack as well. Look like RJ Williams is a little slow going into 1 and 2, the driver of the number 21 machine. Williams might have gotten up into the wall. Looks like he has some sort of right side damage on the number 21 machine. RJ Williams, of course, a phenomenal short track driver looking to see what he can do on the high banks of Michigan here. Looks to possibly be struggling a little bit here in the early goings, but still a very long race, 100 laps, 200 miles around Michigan International here today as the battling continues here in the back portion of the pack. So we have a new battle for second. Here comes Matt Daniels. Matt Daniels is going to try to take away the second spot from Bronson Stafford. You love to see it. Matt Daniels on the inside in the number 5 machine in that Walmart Toyota for 25-11, looking to complete the pass. Stafford's clear of him going into 3 and 4, but Daniels will continue to battle him on the inside. Heller and Burkuski not too far behind him, and then also Josh Cottle up here in the 32 machine. He's looking to make some noise. And Jake Miller, he's gotten up here into the top 10. Now he's threatening to try to get into the top 5, the driver of the number 4 machine. We mentioned him earlier on the starting grid, Jake Miller. Right behind him, you see Eric Kep doing what he needs to do. Came into this race, the driver on the bubble, 12th in points. Currently running in that 8th spot, Mr. Pink, driver of the number 63, trying to have a decent run. That's all he needs, is to have at least a decent run and hope that the drivers behind him don't end up in victory lane. But Jordan Gonzalez is leading the race. That would put Kep the first guy out right now, the driver of the number 63, if Gonzalez is able to get to victory lane. So we might need to figure something out later in the race if Gonzalez's run is able to continue. Here comes Daniels to the inside of the 83 of Stafford. Second keeps on going back and forth, and Daniels looks to clear Stafford this time. Will he jump up in front of him coming out of the corner? He will. Matt Daniels takes over the second spot from Bronson Stafford, and now Christopher Heller is putting the pressure on Stafford. He's looking to get to the inside of the number 83. Here comes Christopher Heller, driver of the number 11 Red Robin Toyota, goes to the inside. Can he make it stick down there, or will Stafford get the runoff? Stafford will get the runoff, but he has no drafting help. The 2511 drivers go to the bottom to help out Heller. This will help him on the entry to 1 and 2. He might be able to clear him going into the corner. Heller looking to complete the pass on the inside. Not quite clear off the corner, but almost. They continue to go back and forth for the third position. Brandon Burkusky right in behind him in the 5th spot. This is some great racing early. Burkusky looked to maybe peek his nose and make it 3 wide for a moment there. Thought better of it. But here comes Josh Cottle putting the pressure on now. Burkusky needs to figure out something to do as Stafford is giving a huge push to Daniels down the front straightaway. I didn't know we were at Talladega. And now Matt Daniels is approaching the race leader. The driver of the number 5, Matt Daniels. Stafford and Heller continue to battle somewhat for that 3rd spot. Heller did not get off that corner well at all. Burkusky cut him a break and gave him a push down the back straightaway, and Heller will look to attack once again. It just looks really difficult to complete that pass on the inside. It's just so hard to complete the pass, it looks like. The driver on the outside, in this case being Stafford, just gets such a good run off of the corner. It's just so hard to compete with. Stafford continues to run that high line, trying to get to the high side of Daniels off turns 1 and 2. Daniels comes up in front of him. Stafford going to try to cross over to the inside. Here comes the 83 of Stafford. Here's the onboard look at him as he tries to take over the 2nd spot from Matt Daniels. These two continue to go back and forth for 2nd. Stafford in 3 and 4. Can he clear him coming out of the corner, or will Daniels get the runoff? Daniels got a little up into the marbles off the corner. Daniels still able to get the run off. Coming into turns 1 and 2, it looks like Daniels might be able to clear Stafford. 25-11 really helping each other out right now here at the front of the field. Really using that draft to their advantage. Stafford riding the bottom of the track. He was all by himself on the high side. Now he's all by himself on the bottom of the racetrack. 25-11 just working really well together right now. 4 of their 5 drivers up there on the high side right now. Zachary Henry did fall back. He's back in the 10th position. Looks to be taking it easy, just saving his stuff and making sure he gets enough points. Very smart run from the number 12 so far. But his 4 teammates up here looking to compete for the victory. I'm hearing there's might have been an accident in the back of the field. A lot of cars turned around. No caution, though. Looked like Ross Brockman was involved. Aiden DuPont was involved. Mike Tellier looked like he was involved. Not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what happened here, but a couple of cars sounded like they were turned around. James Shiflett might have been involved in the number 28. He has a decent amount of damage on that number 28 monster machine. Not exactly sure what had happened there. It looks like Mike Tellier is out of the race. Driver of the number 84 for Sky. You hate to see it. He was looking to work his way from the back to the front. We know he could have done it. A very fast race car driver, and he's out here in the early goings here on lap number 14 of 100 here at Michigan International Speedway for the regular season finale. Gonzalez is doing everything he needs to do right now. Jordan Gonzalez, the driver of that number 3 machine. I mentioned it in pre-race. He was the last driver mathematically eligible to still make the playoffs on points. And now he's looking to make it in, possibly with the win, currently leading the field. He's led all 14 laps so far. I think we're trying to get you a replay here on the incident with Ross Brockman, Aiden DuPont, and a couple other drivers here. Here's the replay here for you coming off turns 3 and 4. You see Ross Brockman and Aiden DuPont almost made some contact with Sensi, came off the corner real slow and just looked like him and Brockman were going for the same Same space of real estate right there. And DuPont goes spinning into the grass, able to keep it out of the inside wall. I was very surprised not to see a caution flag in that scenario, but we were able to keep it green as we now have a battle for the race lead. Christopher Heller. Heller made a move on Matt Daniels and was able to pull a little bit of a side draft coming down the back straightaway, and he's able to get next to the number 3 of Gonzalez. Gonzalez gets a great run off the corner, though, and is able to hang on to the lead spot for now. The driver of the number 3, Jordan Gonzalez, still leads, but Heller, his teammate for 2511 Racing, is really trying to take that spot, and Daniels is trying to maybe take it as well in the number 5 machine. I don't want to scare these leaders, but approaching pretty quickly is that number 37 of Elliot Henderson. He's been the driver on the move the last couple of laps. He's driven himself up to the 7th spot. Elliot Henderson, aka Mr. Bobby Carter, looking to maybe snag another victory on the season, the driver of that number 37 machine. Here he comes down the front straightaway. Here you look at his onboard camera as he pushes Jake Miller, the driver of the number 4 machine. Henderson looks really quick in the early goings. We know how well he drives on the long runs. We'll see how he does in the long runs as Heller once again trying to complete this pass on Gonzalez. Not quite able to clear him out of turns 1 and 2, and Gonzalez will get a great run down the back straightaway with the help from Matt Daniels. How will Heller approach it in 3 and 4? Still on that bottom line. Can he clear him through the corner? It's just so hard to complete the pass, especially without any help. Can Heller complete it? He's so close, he'll cut up in front of his teammate and take the race lead. New leader, Chris Heller. Heller gets his first lead lap of the day, the driver of the number 11 machine. Now Gonzalez gets a bump from his teammate Daniels. Look like going into the corner, and he gets turned. There goes Jordan Gonzalez. He saves it. What a save. Oh my goodness, what a save, and no damage from the number 3. He was in the race lead, and now he's in the back of the pack. You hate to see it. Jordan Gonzalez has had 2 very unlucky weeks the last 2 weeks at Talladega and Milwaukee, and he looked to possibly have turned that around here today. He was in the race lead, and now all of a sudden he's in the back of the pack after contact from his teammate Matt Daniels. What a save, though, from Jordan Gonzalez, able to keep it green, keep it off the wall, and keep it off the other drivers. We're going to try to get you a replay on that incident. Here we are going to take another look at that incident here. Looked like to me coming into the corner that they just made a little contact here. Here you see it. Daniels just gives the 3 a little bump, tries to back off, and Gonzalez is trying to gather it up, and Daniels just didn't really show any patience in that sort of situation and gave him another bump, and Gonzalez made a phenomenal save. A great save for the driver of the number 3. An amazing job by these other drivers, able to keep it off of them. In most situations, someone is going to hit the number 3 just from being impatient, but no one got into him. So great job by these drivers in the field, able to keep it off Gonzalez. But Jordan Gonzalez is all the way back in the 20th spot now with scorched tires. So he's going to be really hoping on a caution. And the way this racing has been early in the race, I would not be surprised if we get a caution here not too long. Chris Heller leading the field. His teammate Burkusky right behind him. Some battling going on in the mid-pack. Here we are around 10th spot, it looks like. Matt Daniels has been falling ever since that incident with Gonzalez. He's now back here to the 10th spot. Matthew Durr just completed the pass for 9th, and right behind him is Hunter Madolinas in that 11th spot. I mentioned him in the pre-race. Last season, he was the win total champion. Was not able to snag a win in the playoffs and really suffered in the playoffs last season. And this season, it's just been a struggle for the number 9 of Madolinas. He's had some good runs, but he's also had a lot of bad luck. Number 9, Hunter Madolinas, he earned the nickname last season, the closer, by coming up at the end of these races and competing for the win, and most of the time snagging it. And can he do that today? Can he get himself into the playoffs? The driver of the number 9 machine, Hunter Madolinas. Miller making a move for second. Jake Miller and Henderson. These two have been working together, and now they're going for the 2nd and 3rd spot. These two have been working together the last couple of laps. Henderson's been coming through the field, but Jake Miller has also been coming through the field as well. Miller's been kind of like making the moves for Henderson. Henderson's been kind of just following them through. And here comes Eric Kep as well in the number 63. And not too far behind him is the number 25 of Tyrell Baker. TCB making an appearance this season. We know how strong he is, the driver of the number 25 machine of Baker. Let's see what he can do. He's up here competing now. The battle continues for the second spot. Baker trying to get a little bit of a side draft off the number 63 of Kep. You saw right there. The 25 and the number 4 continue to go back and forth. Burkusky versus Miller. And Miller really sent it into 1 and 2, and he's going to try to take Heller. He's going to try to take the race lead. The driver of the number 4, Jake Miller, not able to get the run off the corner. Heller right there has a nose on him going into 3 and 4. Miller able to get the side draft down the back straightaway and able to keep up. Some great racing from Jake Miller on the inside, and he might be able to clear him coming out of 4. And he will. He'll come up in front of the number 11 of Christopher Heller. Does Christopher Heller cross over to the inside? Heller gives him a big bump coming to the start-finish line. And Jake Miller able to lead the lap, and that could be very helpful when it comes to points at the end of this race. Here comes Baker, TCB, looking to make some moves. Looking strong on the inside, looking to get past Brandon Burkuski. It's the 25 versus the 025. Henderson right in behind him. Henderson saw that Baker was a little quicker and kind of let him get the spot. Can Baker make the move on Burkuski? He's gotten this far. Jake Miller in the 4 now looking to check out, trying to maybe put some distance between himself and Heller. But the way the draft has just worked at this racetrack, it's nearly impossible to really put that distance between another driver. The draft has just been so strong today in this setup with these cars at this racetrack. The draft has just been awfully strong. It's just really hard to find that separation. Miller has the race lead. Heller right on his bumper going into the corner. And here comes Brandon Burkuski right there in the 3rd spot. And the first caution's out for the day. Caution flag is out on the speedway. Looks to be Matthew Rodriguez. Emrod has spun to the inside of the back straightaway. Rodriguez already, of course, locked into the playoffs with his win earlier on in the season. Driver of the number 57 for Sky in that Steak and Shake Ford F-150. Matthew Rodriguez sounded like he might have had some contact with Samuel Hoff, driver of the number 17 machine. I did hear them come over the radio. We're going to have to see what happened here. It looks like he's on the outside of Fritz in the situation as well. Going to get the replay here. It looks like coming off the corner. Yeah, it looked like Hoff and Fritz just kind of came together on the inside lane. We'll have to take a different angle at that. Didn't quite see who maybe made the move first, but the 31 and the 17 of Hoff and Fritz made some contact on the inside. And Rodriguez was just an innocent bystander in that situation. Here we are going to take another look at it here. And it looks like Fritz gets a little loose on the inside, but Sam Hoff gets almost sideways on the outside and comes all the way down to the bottom. Makes contact with Fritz. And yeah, Rodriguez just gets caught up in the mess. You hate to see it. Matthew Rodriguez looked to have a decent run going so far in that number 57 machine. Got spun around on the back straightaway. Here's the onboard look of Brett Kincott just speeding through. Great avoidance from the number 6 machine. Brett Kincott, great job from him. He's another one of those drivers that's just outside the playoffs. I think he came into this race 17th in points, 18th in points. He's looking for a win, though, here today. The driver, the number 6, as our race leaders are on pit lane. Who will get off pit road first? Will we see possibly some strategy here? It's a close race off pit road between Heller and Miller. It looked like Heller maybe edged him off pit road. A very close race off pit road. The number 11 of Christopher Heller able to take the race lead back on pit road. Driver of the number 11 for 2511 Racing has the race lead. Elliot Henderson able to come off pit road in 3rd. Bobby Carter, driver of the number 37, you'll be in that 3rd position right here. Brandon Burkusky comes off in 4th. You have Tyrell Baker in 5th. Ashton Lawson, he's up here in 6th. Haven't mentioned him all day. Look like he had a decent pit stop, able to snag a couple of spots on pit road. Josh Collar right behind him in 7th. Eric Kep in 8th. Daniels in 9th. And Durr in 10th. It actually looks like Lewis Woodall maybe had stayed out to get at least a point from leading a lap. I'm not sure if he's going to come down pit road this time by. He is the only driver that stayed out, so I would assume that he would come down pit road this time by. And here he comes. Driver of the number 13, Lewis Woodall, going to come down pit road and make his pit stop. A little bit past a quarter of the way here. It looks like Heller is going to take the top lane and get the help from his teammate, Burkusky, which will put Jake Miller with his teammate of Elliot Henderson. So this should make it pretty interesting on the restart. Fresh tires up here battling for the race lead, and Jake Miller and Elliot Henderson, they started a little farther back in the pack. Miller started 8th, and Henderson started 11th. Heller started up here in the 5th spot, and Burkusky in 7th. But those 25-11 drivers were working together from the start, and they almost got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the first lap. So they've been running at the front since the start of this race, while Henderson and Miller have had to work their way past a couple of drivers to get up here. So I'm interested to see how they're able to do now that they don't have to really pass anybody to get up to the front, because they're already at the front. Miller's shown a lot of speed at the end of that run. Henderson as well. Interested to see how Lawson is able to do, and Baker. We know they have a lot of speed, the 0.25 and the number 24 of Lawson and Baker. We'll see what they're able to do as well, as we're about to take the green flag here after caution number 1 here at Michigan International Speedway. I'd like to also mention Samuel Hoff did go to the end of the longest line for that incident under caution number 1. Pace truck pulls down pit road, and Christopher Heller, the driver of the number 11, will lead him to the green flag. A great start from him and Burkusky. They were 100% ready, and Burkusky is going to clear Miller before they even get to the start-finish line. Great teamwork from 2511 Racing right there. Jake Miller right there in the 3rd spot. Baker in 4th. In 5th is Elliot Henderson. Baker going to jump to the inside, maybe try to get underneath the 4 of Miller. Heller has the race lead here on the first lap of the green flag run. Is anybody able to challenge him for the spot? The top 10 calmed down fairly quickly, but around 11th spot here, some pretty heavy battling between Daniels and Brittle and Daniel Nanny and Matthew Durr. A couple of drivers trying to get into the playoffs here. Hunter Brittle being one of them, the driver of the number 10 machine, looking to repeat and get himself into the playoffs for the 2nd straight season. Hunter Madolinas on his outside. Very close racing going into 3 and 4 here. Racing here for the 9th spot. Matt Daniels slides up in front of Madolinas. Madolinas has to get on the brakes immediately. Almost an incident right there. Great reactions from Madolinas. And they're going to be 3 wide coming across the start-finish line. Not really missing anything at the front. The top 3 is trying to separate themselves from the field as these drivers are battling awfully hard. A lot of these drivers trying to get to the front and compete for a victory and get themselves into the playoffs. Tight racing off the corner between Daniels and Brittle. Cottle and Baker battling right in front of this group. Eric Kep and Daniel Nanny battling. They're 3 wide once again with Gavin Fitzgerald all the way on the bottom. Hunter Brittle in the very middle lane. That's very tight. Some great racing through 3 and 4. 3 wide still coming across the start-finish line. Cremines is able to jump up in front of Gavin Fitzgerald. And I'm hearing it sounds like Brandon Burkusky is going to he's actually serving a penalty. He's just pulled onto pit lane. Brandon Burkusky is serving a penalty for a restart violation, it sounds like. The driver of the number 25 machine, you hate to see it. Brandon Burkusky was having such a great run, and now he has to serve a penalty. Now he's hoping that a caution flag comes out so he can get back to the race leaders. These drivers continue to battle 4th on back. Ashton Lawson in the number 24 with Daniel Nanny and Josh Cottle right behind him. Here comes Frederick Cremines in the number 50 machine. Cremines needs a victory to get himself into the playoffs. He's had a very consistent season, the driver of the number 50 machine, but a lot of drivers have gotten to victory lane. Cremeen's able to jump up in front of Cottle right there, right behind Lawson, gets a little loose, almost makes contact with Nanny. Very hard battling right now. Around the 5th spot, here comes Gavin Fitzgerald in the number 14 machine. Looking to possibly get a second victory on the season in that giant Tiger Ford, with Eric Kep, his teammate, right behind him. Henderson and Lawson now battling it out for 3rd. Lawson looking to snag another spot. He's been moving his way through the field after starting in the 18th spot, looking to get himself to 3rd. Driver of the number 24 machine. Last season's champion, Ashton Lawson. This is some great battling right here, and Miller's trying to get up to the race lead as well, right behind Heller. This is just some great battling here at the front of the field. Some great racing here to end the regular season. Which drivers are going to make it into the playoffs? Almost 3 wide coming across the start-finish line. Once again, Lawson all the way on the bottom. Daniel Nanny trying to get in the middle. Nanny almost puts Cottle in the wall. Almost contact there. Still side by side coming off the corner. Cremeen's and Henderson are trying to check out of this group. Fitzgerald and Nanny, they're trying to separate themselves as well. Here comes Lawson trying to jump up to the high side. Daniels sends it into 3 and 4. A phenomenal move from Matt Daniels. He's going to clear Ashton Lawson going into the corner. A great move from Matthew Daniels, driver of the number 5. Daniels has been strutting his stuff all night. He seems to have a very strong machine, a very strong Toyota in that number 5 tonight. He's looking to make work of it. They continue to battle behind Lawson. Baker and Kep battle it out. Brittle, Madolinas, and Austin Moore battling behind them. Baker looking to make the move on Lawson for the spot. He's looking to take away that spot from Lawson. Not able to do it right there. We're going to pass the lap car of Ross Brockman, who's going to get to the inside and get underneath the line and just get out of everybody's way in that number 52 machine. Coming off turns 1 and 2, we pretty much have a long single file line up until you get to around 15th place. That's where you're getting the battles right now. You have Austin Moore back there coming into this race. Austin Moore, 10 points outside of the playoffs, looking to get himself into the playoffs, into the top 12, looking to snag as many points as he can. So he's trying to snag as many positions as he can, as he's on the inside of Nathan Nicholson and the number 40 back there for the number 4 for the 14th spot. Kept up here trying to snag some points, trying to get Patti. Right when I was mentioning Austin Moore, he's in the grass in turns 1 and 2. Austin Moore in the number 91 machine going through the grass in turns 1 and 2 after possible contact with Jordan Gonzalez. I've been hearing some little bit of chatter on the radio. Might have made contact with Jordan Gonzalez, the driver of the number 3 machine. Right before I was mentioning Austin Moore was the first guy out. Here you're going to see it. Jordan Gonzalez giving him a push going into the corner, gives him a bad bump going into the corner. Their bumpers were not even, and the 91 goes through the grass and able to slow down and keep it off his other competitors. You hate to see it for Austin Moore looking to get himself into the playoffs. At the same time, Jordan Gonzalez, he might have the fastest truck here tonight, and he's trying to get himself back up to the front after contact with his teammate, Matt Daniels, earlier, trying to lock himself up a playoff spot. There's not any give tonight. It's a bunch of take as the number 4 is trying to take the lead. Jake Miller dives to the inside, and he's able to clear Heller off the corner, but not quite able to jump in front of him. Still trying to get in front of him. Almost contact there. Very hard racing here at the front. Elliot Henderson going to kind of box Heller in. Henderson to the inside of Heller. And here comes Frederick Camines and Gavin Fitzgerald. What are they able to do? Gavin Fitzgerald and Frederick Camines. Camines trying to maybe lock himself up a playoff spot. That would be a phenomenal upset if he's able to get up there and take the race lead and get the race win here tonight in that number 50 machine. As Heller is going to take the lead back on the inside. These two continue to go back and forth for the race lead. Heller takes it back on the inside. Miller peeks to the outside, goes to the inside. Great run off the corner for Jake Miller. Thinks better of it. He's going to dive right back behind. Heller just didn't have the momentum going into the corner. Miller is going to have to reapproach this. He's going to have to take another stab at it in a different way. Henderson right behind him with a whole bunch of hungry drivers behind him as well. Cremines looking to lock up a playoff spot. Fitzgerald looking to snag another win. Nanny looking to snag a win. Cottle. A lot of these drivers have not won a race this season behind them. They're looking to either snag themselves a win or snag themselves a win and a playoff spot. Someone like Frederick Cremines looking to do that in the number 50 machine. Heller looking to put a little bit of distance between himself and Jake Miller, and the only way he's going to be able to do that is by breaking the draft. And he broke the draft on the front straightaway, was able to put a couple of car lengths between himself and the number 4. But the number 4, Miller, snagging that draft once again. But Heller going to dive to the inside here, trying to break that draft of the number 4, trying to get clear and trying to pull away in that number 11 machine. The battling continues behind. Daniels sends it into 3 and 4 underneath Daniel Nanny. He's looking to take some spots and get up there in the number 5 machine. Cottle and Lawson right there as well. You see it on your screen. Heller continuing to try to break the draft, the number 11 machine. Miller is sticking right there, and you also have to keep in mind, underneath that last run, Miller and Henderson were probably the quickest trucks at the end of the run right before we got the caution flag. So I'm curious if Heller continues to do this, if it's possibly wearing out his tires, at least on the front straightaway. Miller is sticking right there. Heller hasn't really made any distance between himself and the 4, as Henderson's sticking with his teammate as well in the number 4 machine. Single file lineup here at the front of the field for the most part. Drivers looking to maybe cool down their tires here after a very exciting first few laps of that run. Very good beginning portion of that run there. Very heavy, very hard racing here at the front of the pack. Everyone possibly trying to cool down their tires a little bit here at the front of the field. Heller leads. Miller right behind him in 2nd. Henderson in the 3rd spot. You have Frederick Cremines in 4th. Gavin Fitzgerald in 5th. That is your current top 5. And you have Daniel Nanny in 6th. Josh Cottle in 7th. Matt Daniels in 8th. Ashton Lawson in 9th. And then you have Tyrell Baker, a.k.a. TCB, in that 10th spot, rounding out your top 10. Good racing here today at Michigan International Speedway to end out the regular season as we're approaching halfway here soon enough here at Michigan International for the Patti Engineering 200 as we're on lap 45 of 100. Let's give an update on just a couple of certain drivers through the field that we've been talking about throughout the day. First of all, of course, Jordan Gonzalez hasn't really made up any ground ever since that contact with Austin Moore. He's been riding in that 18th spot ever since he made contact with Austin Moore a few laps ago. Another driver to mention, Matthew Rodriguez. He's driven himself back up to the 23rd spot after his spin out on caution number 1. Austin Moore, running currently in the 26th spot. Mentioned him how he is the first guy outside of the playoffs coming in, 10 points out coming into today's race. Made a great save a few laps ago after contact with Jordan Gonzalez, and at this point he's really hoping for a caution. Austin Moore in that number 91 machine. Then down to the 31st position, we got Brandon Burkusky, who's barely really hanging on to the lead lap right now. He's around a quarter of a lap from going a lap down, almost half a lap actually from going a lap down in the number 25 machine. And Brandon Burkusky was running up in the top 3, and after a restart violation on the last restart, had to come down pit road and serve a black flag. Currently running in 31st, like I said, hoping on a caution to come out to get himself back in the race in that number 25 machine. Christopher Heller still leading the field here at Michigan International, having a very good run. And that number 11 machine, 25-11 as a whole, looking very strong today. Heller leading the field, Miller right behind him. Miller has not been able to really cut any at that gap. It's been around a trunk length and a half. Last few laps, just been hanging out right there. But this front three, and Cremines is attempting to do it as well, are really separating themselves from the rest of the field. Daniel Nanny's gotten himself up to the top 5. He's having a good run. What else can I say about Matt Daniels? He's had a phenomenal run in that number 5 machine. I've been very impressed by his performance. And no matter where he comes home tonight, I would be pretty proud of the performance he's put on tonight in that number 5 machine. There's the onboard look of Matt Daniels, driver of the Walmart Toyota for 25-11 Racing. Currently running in the 6th spot. Gavin Fitzgerald right behind him, and Josh Cottle and a couple of other drivers. These drivers are really beginning to separate a little bit now. This is the first time we've really seen it today. This is the first time we've really seen a decent amount of separation like this. Everyone's putting a couple of truck lengths between one another on the racetrack, and everything seems to be very calm, actually, at the front of the field for the first time tonight. This front three have finally gotten all close up. Question is, what do Miller and Henderson do? Does Miller try to make the move? He has his teammate Henderson behind him, and they don't have a 4th driver behind them. I think this is the time that you maybe want to make a move on Heller. Oh, there's contact off turn 2. Almost look like they're still trying to wreck, and there goes Lawson. Lawson spinning on the back straightaway. Very heavy contact into turns 1 and 2. It looked like Lawson was involved. Nathan Nicholson, a couple of other drivers involved here at the halfway point of the race. Very heavy contact coming out of turns 1 and 2. It looked like somebody possibly had gotten into the wall very hard. Shane Neiswanger might have been involved in the incident as well in the number 49. Wow. Very hard impact into the outside wall coming out of turns 1 and 2. We're going to take another look at it here. And we are going to take a look at this replay here in a moment here. Like Ashton Lawson and Tyrell Baker and Josh Cottle possibly were involved in this as well. Good amount of drivers. Here we are going to take a look at this. Here you see them coming through turns 1 and 2. There you see Cottle slide up a little bit in contact with Lawson, and then Lawson get a huge bump from behind. I couldn't make out who that was behind him, and then they all just stacked it behind him, and they're trying to save it. Just Lawson was unable to save it, and that's what we ended up getting the caution for, but just a very nasty incident right there coming out of the corner. Gonna take another angle at it here. Gonna take another look at it coming out of turns 1 and 2. You're going to see it here. Cottle slips up on the inside and avoids contact with Baker. Maybe even made a little contact with Baker. And it looks like Kep actually got in the back of Lawson. Brittle made heavy contact. Look, that was Stafford that made contact. Neiswanger. Nicholson. Look like Hunter Brittle might have even gotten a little bit of damage from that. And you would hate to see that. Brittle, one of those drivers that's trying to make it in on points. He's still eligible to make it in on points. Only 18 points out coming into the race. We're going to take an onboard look at Ashton Lawson, last season's champion, driver of the number 24. Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of contact with Cottle and TCB, and Lawson goes up in the wall. Very heavy contact with the right side of Hunter Brittle. Looks like some decent damage on Madolinas as well. You hate to see it for someone like Brittle and Madolinas, 2 drivers that are trying to get into the playoffs. They're right there, right outside the playoffs. Madolinas only 15 points outside. Brittle only 18 points outside. Now we're going to take a look at Nathan Nicholson, the number 40 machine driver for Dark Horse. See his view. He just kind of stops in front of him. It looked like that might have been Bronson Stafford. He just kind of got stopped in the incident right there. And Nicholson made very heavy contact to the number 40 machine. Very heavy contact for the number 40. Very destroyed race truck for Nicholson. And Nicholson technically isn't locked in coming into this race. 29 points to the good. So we'll have to watch the rest of the race. See what happens. See if he locks himself in. Here's Neiswanger's view at it. He goes to the inside and looked like he was going to get clear of the incident. Just wasn't able to keep it off Lawson there. Looked like he was going to get clear of the incident right there. But just wasn't able to. Driver the number 49, Shane Neiswanger. looking to get his second victory on the season, one on the dirt a couple weeks ago, and looking to snag another victory. We're going to take one more look at it here. Look at Ashton Lawson right here in the number 24 machine coming off the corner and just makes contact with Cottle, and Kep had nowhere to go and left Stafford with nowhere to go, and it just kind of was a log jam off that corner. Some evasive moves to the inside. One of those drivers diving all the way to the inside, able to avoid it, was the number 3 of Jordan Gonzalez and the number 12 of Zachary Henry. Gonzalez looking to possibly lock himself up a spot by possibly winning this race, and Henry, his goal tonight is really just to keep that truck clean and get himself to the finish and lock himself up a spot in the playoffs. Drivers have doubled up here as we have one to go. The lights are out here on the pace truck here for caution number 2. Heller on the high side here with Miller right behind him. Then Henderson will be on the inside with Daniel Nanny right behind him. Heller decided on that high side he wanted the help from Mr. Jake Miller. Miller's been showing off a lot of speed here tonight in that number 4 machine. I'm interested to see what these drivers are able to do on the restart. These restarts have been very crazy all night long. And here we are set up for another one. After caution number 2, Heller in the number 11 for 2511 is going to lead him down to the green flag here at Michigan International Speedway after caution number 2. And the green flag is waving for the number 11 of Christopher Heller. And Henderson's going to try to jump up in front of his teammate, Jake Miller. He will. And Daniel Nanny, he's going to go to the inside. He's going to try to maybe take over the second spot in turns 1 and 2 here. Craziness going on in the back of the pack. Don't know exactly what happened there. It looked like something got stacked up. Maybe someone didn't go. Able to keep it green for now. Nanny tried to jump up in front of Henderson. Wasn't quite clear. Cremines to the inside. Cremines almost spins it out. A great save from the number 50. He's going to come back onto the racetrack, but he's going to fall outside the top 10 because of that. Some heavy racing here at the beginning, and Nanny's trying to go for the race lead here. This could be a phenomenal move for Daniel Nanny, driver of the number 30. Daniel Nanny looking to take the race lead, but Heller's going to get a great run off the corner with help from Elliot Henderson and Jake Miller, and Henderson's now going to go to the inside. Henderson had a phenomenal run coming off the corner, and now he's going for the race lead in the number 37. Some great battling here at the front of the field. Who will take the race lead? Henderson looking to take it on the inside. Daniel Nanny on his outside. Jake Miller is going to go with his teammate of Elliot Henderson. Can Henderson make a move on the inside? It's just so hard to complete a pass down there. He's looking to get in front of Nanny at least. He's just not quite able to squeeze in there, but Heller is going to give him the draft. Almost contact between the 37 and the 30 as they try to side draft each other down the front straightaway. Some great racing here. Henderson poking his nose to the inside of Heller, not quite close enough to make the move for the race lead once again. Trying once again to get in front of Nanny. Just no space in front of Nanny. Nanny gets a great run off the corner, and they're going to be nose to nose heading into 3 and 4. It looked like they almost made contact, actually. Going into 3 and 4, the 37 and the 30 are battling really hard for this spot. Some very aggressive side drafting between these two drivers right now. Gavin Fitzgerald, he's here in the 4th spot. He's going to go to the high side. He's going to work with Daniel Nanny up there on that high lane. High lane has just seemed to be the stronger lane all race long, that middle to high side of the racetrack. But Henderson is not giving up on that inside lane. Henderson all the way to the bottom. Very close racing right there. Very close racing right there. And I would like to mention Jordan Gonzalez is back in the top 10. Jordan Gonzalez is back up in the 8th spot, so he's definitely a driver to watch out for here in the second half of this race to see if he can get back up there and take the race lead back. And I'm hearing on the radio that actually Nathan Nicholson had blown his engine, the driver of the number 40. And there he is right there. He's going to pull off all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. We're going to have to see if there's going to be a caution for that or not. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to keep it green. He is way out of the way, so I'm assuming we'll be able to keep it green. He's going to hop into the grass right there in the number 40 machine, but I mentioned it. Nathan Nicholson was 29 points above the cut line coming into this race. He was not locked in by points quite yet. He was very close locked in by points, but not quite yet. So he's going to have to watch for the end of this race and see if he makes it in by points. The driver of the number 40, and there you see him still going through the grass here, trying to maybe get at least one more lap on the racetrack, try to snag any points if they're available in the number 40 machine. They're still racing up here at the front. Nanny has been trying to get to the inside of Chris Heller. It's just so hard to complete a pass here at Michigan. We've seen it all race long. You kind of need help to almost complete a pass here. It's just so difficult to complete a pass on the inside. And the top around 18 of the field have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field. 19th on back, or pretty far back. And that 19th place driver is Eric Kemp. So we're definitely going to be watching out for that. Eric Kemp not running where I think he'd want to be running in the number 63 machine. There you see it. You have to wonder if maybe he has a little bit of damage from the contact with Ashton Lawson off turns 1 and 2. So that's something we're definitely going to have to watch out for. We're going to have to watch out for points at the end of this race because it might be very close for someone like Eric Kemp, especially if someone like Jordan Gonzalez is able to get into victory lane. Chris Heller continues to lead the field. Daniel Nanny right behind him in second. Gavin Fitzgerald in third. Elliot Henderson in fourth. Jake Miller in fifth. That is your current top 5. Jordan Gonzalez has moved himself back up to sixth. You have Tyrell Baker in seventh. Matthew Durr in eighth. Zachary Henry in ninth. And Brett Kingcott in 10th. That is your top 10 at the moment on track. Daniel Nanny continues to poke his nose, but not really necessarily make a move. I think he's just waiting for his right time, right moment, and hoping that someone maybe works with them to get that spot. And Gonzalez continues to move up. He was 8th a couple laps ago. Now he's trying to get himself into the top 5 as he's trying to make a move on Jake Miller, and he will clear him going into turns 1 and 2. The driver of the number 3, Jordan Gonzalez for 2511 Racing, trying to make a phenomenal comeback in that number 3 machine after being almost spun out, almost dead and gone earlier on in the race, back into the top 5. Gonzalez snagging that draft from Henderson. He's trying to get up there to the top 4 now. Henry making a move to the inside of Matthew Durr back there for what would be the 8th spot, with Josh Cottle right behind him as well. And Matthew Rodriguez, he's up here in 11th. So good job from Emrod. He's gotten up here. And the driver to watch out for as well is Austin Moore. Austin Moore up there in 12th, came into this race 10 points outside of the playoffs. Eric Kemp currently on the playoff bubble. He's currently running in the 18th position. So Austin Moore will have to go out there and snag a couple more spots. But he's right there. He's so close to getting into the playoffs, the number 91 machine. Right behind them here, you see Brandon Burkusky trying to get himself back up to the front. Brandon Burkusky's had one of the fastest trucks all night. And that number 25 machine, he's trying to get himself back up to the front. He's moved himself back up to 14th right now on the racetrack as he just completed that pass on Lewis Woodall in the number 13 machine. Not really missing anything up front right now. They're keeping it fairly calm at the front of the field. Heller and Nanny and Fitzgerald are really trying to separate themselves at the moment from Henderson and everybody else. You see Sensi and Burkuski. There you see our leaders right there. Yeah, Nanny's right there behind Heller. He just hasn't really made a full-blown out move. He's poked his nose here and there, but he hasn't really tried to send it in one of these corners and try to make the move. I don't know if he's trying to wait for the right moment or try to save his tires for the end part of the run, or not exactly sure what the 30 strategy is here at this point. But currently just riding in behind the number 11 of Christopher Heller. Gavin Fitzgerald right behind him, and the 37 of Henderson right behind him. And Jordan Gonzalez has gotten up to this top 4 now. He was a couple of truck lengths back a few laps ago, and now he's right there behind Henderson. Curious what he'll do once he gets up there, because we know how We know how much he needs a win. Jordan Gonzalez comes into this race 29 points outside of the playoffs. He needs a win. He doesn't just want to win, he needs a win. If he doesn't win this race, he's more than likely not going to make the playoffs unless he gets a whole bunch of help in the number 3 machine. So he needs to get himself into victory lane as he's trying to clear the number 37 of Henderson. Henderson really looked like he might have overdrove the entry to 1 and 2, really slipped up into the marbles there in 1 and 2 and opened up the door for Gonzalez, but was able to get a great run off the corner in that number 37 machine, hang on to the 4th spot for now, and he's almost trying to set his sights on Gavin Fitzgerald coming off the corner. But Gavin did not get through 3 and 4 well at all, and that opened up the door for the 37 of Elliot Henderson, aka Mr. Bobby Carter. He's going to jump to the inside of Gavin Fitzgerald here and try to take over that 3rd spot. Might be able to clear him going through the middle of the corner. He will, but Fitzgerald is going to do the crossover move. A phenomenal move from the 14 of Fitzgerald. Will he get any help there at the bottom of the racetrack? Looks to maybe snag a little bit of a draft from our 2 leaders there. They're going to be neck and neck going into 3 and 4 with Gonzalez right in behind him. Jake Miller as well. Miller looking to get to the inside of Gonzalez as Gonzalez is kind of blocked in on the outside at this point in the number 3 machine. While this is going on, the front 2 is really beginning to separate themselves from the rest of the field. Christopher Heller and Daniel Nanny trying to gap 3rd on back as battle for 3rd continues between Gavin Fitzgerald and Elliot Henderson, with Jordan Gonzalez and Jake Miller right in behind them as well. Contact! Fitzgerald and Gonzalez! Oh, man. Gonzalez with heavy damage. Oh, man. You hate to see it. This is going to be the 3rd straight week where Gonzalez just did not have the luck. You really hate to see it. Gonzalez has been so... And there's a caution, actually, on the speedway. And there's a truck spinning going into the corner. Is that Eric Kempf? No, I can't make out who that is. Looks like Sam Hoff, driver of the 17, spun out of the corner. I saw a black and reddish pink car. I thought it was Kempf. Good thing it wasn't. It's Sam Hoff in the number 17 machine. Hoff has already had his share of incidents here tonight in the number 17. He's going to get back racing. Able to keep it off the wall, though. So very good job from Sam Hoff. Able to keep it off of the outside wall, it looked like in the 17 machine. But as I was saying about Gonzalez, you hate to see it. Him and Fitzgerald just going for the same spot of real estate. It looked like off the corner, and just you hate to see it for Gonzalez. Gonzalez was looking at making the playoffs a couple of weeks ago, and after 3 straight possibly bad runs after Talladega, Milwaukee, and now this week at Michigan, he might be just short of the playoffs, unfortunately, in the number 3 machine. We'll have to see how the rest of this race goes for him, as we're going to take a look at the incident with Samuel Hoff, the driver of the number 17 machine. Here we are going to take a look at the replay. Sam Hoff's onboard camera, driver of the number 17, Patti Engineering. Here he comes down the back straightaway, and he sees that stack up in front of him. And he goes to the inside, goes to the middle. He sees that stack up in front of him, and is just reacting to the stack up. Comes into the corner, gets loose, might have made some contact there, or I don't know. I couldn't tell from the onboard, but he was passing Sensi on the high side, maybe some contact with Michael Sensi. From the onboard, it kind of felt like contact. We're gonna have to take another look at it here. Here we are going to take another look at it. Passing Michael Sensi on the high side here. Number 17 of Sam Hoff tries to cut down in front of Sensi, and Sensi's still there, and they did make heavy contact right there. And great, like I said, great job by Hoff, able to keep it out of the wall. 9 out of 10 times that truck's going into the wall bumper first. He was able to keep it out of the wall. So very good job from Sam Hoff. And Hunter Madolinas has exited the race, which means that Hunter Madolinas will not be in the playoffs. Wow. Just crazy. Hunter Madolinas, a championship favorite coming into the season, winless, and will not be in the playoffs. You hate to see it. Here's the onboard look of Cremines, able to keep his playoff hopes alive right there by getting through that incident. He does have some right front damage, though, so we'll have to see how that is affecting him. Hunter Madolinas exiting this race early. The closer, the driver of the number 9 machine. It looked like he suffered some damage from that incident earlier, and he's just been really suffering in that number 9 machine, and just decided to come down pit road and end the race for himself. The number 9 machine, it looked like. check another one off that will not be racing for the playoffs here. Lights are out on the pace truck here. Would like to note that Samuel Hoff has received an end of the longest line penalty for that incident right there with him and Michael Sensi. We're gonna go green flag racing with just under 30 laps to go, 29 laps to go, and we go green flag racing here. Heller has decided on the inside lane here. Nanny will be up on the high side, which will put Elliot Henderson behind him in third, Jake Miller in fourth, Tyrell Baker in fifth, Zach Henry is in sixth. You got Fitzgerald in seventh. Looks like you got Matthew Rodriguez up here in eighth. Good recovery from him. You got Josh Cottle up here in the top 10, and then Austin Moore, a driver I've mentioned a couple of times, the first driver outside of the playoff window coming in, currently running in 10th. Eric Kep, the last driver on the bubble, currently running in 16th. And no drivers at the front at this point that can lock themselves in with the win. Jordan Gonzalez was the big threat on that. He is pretty far back at this point in the number 3 machine. So at this point, it might come down to points. As the pace truck is going to pull down pit road once again. Here after caution number 3, Christopher Heller is going to lead him down to the green flag here at Michigan International. The green flag is waving for the number 11 of Heller as the 30 and the 37 are going to battle it out for second. They both kind of get going at the same time, but the front 4 got going well, while 5th and 6th on back were not ready for that restart and lost a little bit of time. The way this draft's been, though, everybody's going to be ganged up once again, and this is going to be some crazy battling I'm expecting here on this run, because this could possibly be the run to the finish at this point. This could be the last green flag run right here. Henderson sends it to the inside of Nanny, and they're making contact. There goes Nanny. He's going to make contact with Henry. Zachary Henry and TCB, Tyrell Baker goes to the inside. Nanny still spinning on the front straightaway coming out of the corner. Oh, man. Wow. Very, very hard racing here at the front between Henderson and Nanny. Looked like Henderson really wanted to get to the inside of Nanny, and Nanny was not willing to give him the space. Very hard racing between the 30 and 37. A little bit of a disagreement on the radio. They're agreeing to disagree at the moment, but it looked like that was just some really hard racing. Nanny definitely could have gave him some more room, it looked like, in the number 30, but we're going to take another look at it here. Like Daniel Nanny sees Henderson to the inside, tries to give him a little bit of a squeeze, and they're really fighting for real estate right there. Really fighting hard for real estate. It's the end of the race. You're not going to give up anything. Great job by a lot of these drivers able to keep it. Oh, was that Eric Kef that made a little contact with him? I think he got into Eric Kep's door, it looked like, in the number 63. I'm going to want to take a look at the onboard of that one, but it looked like he might have made a little bit of contact with the right side of Eric Kep, and he was able to keep it straight in the number 63 machine. That could be a very phenomenal save. Here we are going to take a look at the onboard look of Eric Kep, a.k.a. Mr. Pink. You're going to see him spinning out right in front of him. He doesn't really have very much time to react. Dives to the inside, gets clipped a little bit, and makes a great save. The wall is just a couple of feet away from him. If he doesn't make that great of a save, he's going nose first into the wall, and he can almost say goodbye to the playoffs at that point. So a phenomenal job from Eric Kep, able to keep his playoff hopes alive right there. Great job. Going to take an onboard look at Daniel Nanny, driver of the number 30 machine. You're going to see him. He's following Heller, and he's giving a little bit of a squeeze to Henderson, and there's just very hard racing right there between the 37 and the 30. I mentioned it earlier. There's not going to be any give here tonight. It's going to be all take. It's the regular season finale. Some of these drivers are trying to snag some points for the playoffs, and some drivers are trying to get themselves into the playoffs. There's not going to be any give here today. Here we are going to take another look at this incident from a different angle. The 37 and the 30 just make contact there on the inside. It just looks like they're going for the same space of real estate. It looks like Henderson came up a little bit, and Nanny came down a bunch in the beginning of the corner to give him that squeeze, and kind of squeezed them throughout the corner. some very hard racing right there between the 30 and the 37. It looked like coming through turns 3 and 4, and Daniel Nanny obviously getting the worst end of it. This is where cautions breed cautions. We've seen this race all day. There's been some hard racing, but not overly aggressive racing. With just under 30 laps to go, and some of these drivers trying to get themselves into the playoffs, there's gonna be some aggressive racing at the end of this race. The draft has been killer today. The draft has just been amazing throughout the whole race. No one's really been able to get any separation all race long. Right when you think someone might begin to pull away, the driver behind them gets pulled right back in because of the way the draft has been working all race long. So I'm expecting this last 25 laps to be insane, and I don't think that's going to be the last caution either. Caution number 4 of the day is what we're currently under. Chris Heller leading the field on the inside. Elliot Henderson will be on the high side. Jake Miller in 3rd. Josh Cottle up here in 4th. This is the highest we've seen him up all day. Gavin Fitzgerald up here in 5th. Matthew Rodriguez in 6th. Then look in 7th. You have Austin Moore currently in 7th. And Eric Kep is currently in 23rd. That would put Austin Moore in the playoffs and Eric Kep out of the playoffs. Brandon Burkusky in 8th. Cremines in 9th. And Lewis Woodall having a good run. Rounding out your top 10. Here we come off turns 3 and 4 once again. After caution number 4, here comes the pace truck down pit road, and Heller will once again lead him to the green flag as it's waving in the air for Christopher Heller, the driver of the number 11 machine. A great restart, but I don't know if he wanted to get out that far ahead. I don't know if you want to do that because he's going to be a sitting duck for the number 4 and 37. Miller and Henderson are going to have a pretty big run on him coming off the corner. What do they do with it? Does Heller make his truck 3 lanes wide? Here comes Miller to the inside. Coming into turns 3 and 4. Heller decided on the high side. Can Miller possibly clear him going through turns 3 and 4? And Brandon Burkusky, he's entered the conversation up here in the 3rd spot. He's back up here in the front, giving a great push to Miller as Miller looked like he led that lap by just a couple of thousandths. 7 thousandths of a second on that lap. Very close race to the line on that lap right there. Jake Miller takes the race lead from Christopher Heller. He's going to jump up to the high side in front of him, which will leave Brandon Burkusky by himself on the inside lane as Burkusky's now trying to get up to the high side. But Heller's going to jump down in front of Burkusky. The 25-11 teammates are up on the bottom. A phenomenal move from Heller going into the corner. He just completely sends it, and he clears Miller by a mile going through the corner. The racing continues behind him. Burkusky and Miller going back and forth for that 2nd spot. Austin Moore currently running in 7th. You see him on your screen in that NOS Energy machine right behind Josh Cottle. 3 wide behind them. This is some great racing here at the front. Some drivers here fighting to make it into the playoffs. Some drivers trying to snag a victory before the season's up. Christopher Heller has been near the front of the points all season long. He's looking to snag his first win of the season in that number 11 machine. Burkusky cuts up in front of Jake Miller. Miller and Burkusky continue to go back and forth for that 2nd spot. He cuts up in front of him again. Henderson right behind him. Here comes Austin Moore. Austin Moore has gotten up into the top 5. Henderson right behind Miller. Does he help out his teammate to get past Burkusky? Miller continues to give a push to Burkusky down the back straightaway going into 3 and 4. Burkusky right there within striking distance. It's been a phenomenal comeback for the number 25 of Brandon Burkusky as he's looking to possibly snag a victory here tonight. Can he do it? Austin Moore trying to get up into the top 5. He's continuing to make up points and try to get himself into that last playoff spot in the number 91 machine. Currently, Eric Kep is running in the 21st position in the number 63. Mr. Pink needs to make up spots if he wants to keep himself in the playoffs. Austin Moore and Cottle continue to battle for that 5th position. Here comes Miller. Miller going to finally make the move on Burkusky for 2nd. Here comes Jake Miller with the help from Elliot Henderson, not too far behind him. Miller still on the inside. Does Henderson continue to help his teammate? Here comes Josh Cottle on the outside of Henderson. 20 laps to go in the regular season. Miller and Heller battling it out for 1st. Oh, some very heavy side drafting going down the back straightaway between the 4 and the 11. Some aggressive side drafts there from Miller. Miller's able to clear Heller going through the corner. Will he jump up in front of Heller? He will stick with his teammate Henderson. He's going to try to help Henderson get past Heller as well. Bobby Carter clear. Christopher Heller going through 1 and 2 this time by. Or will Christopher Heller continue to fight on the high side? Heller with a great entry to the corner. He's going to be able to get off the corner strong and maybe get back to the high side of Miller. Miller looks like he's going to block the high side. Henderson's going to block Burkuski and drop in front of him. Eric Kef has moved himself up to 20th. Austin Moore is in 6th. Giving you an update on that bubble watch right there. Austin Moore, you see him in that blue NOS Energy machine. Does he try to snag some more spots? Here comes Fitzgerald to his inside, the driver of the number 14. Possibly trying to help out his teammate here. Trying to get some points back for Kep. Miller and Heller are looking to possibly separate themselves from the field. Fitzgerald not able to get up in front of anybody. You're seeing it there on your screen. He's just so hard to get up in front of anybody. It's hard to complete a pass, especially when they're in a line like this. There's just no gaps up there right now. Good battling here for the 6th position. Fitzgerald on the inside of Austin Moore. Austin Moore fighting for his playoff life, trying to get into the playoffs. Can he snag that last spot? Fitzgerald's going to dive it in there and get in front of Cottle. A very brave move from the number 14. Very aggressive. Josh Cottle gives him a shot on the back straightaway right there, it looked like. Now Fitzgerald is going to go underneath the number 12 of Burkuski going into 3 and 4. Fitzgerald making a lot of moves to the number 14. Now here comes Matthew Rodriguez trying to make a move on Austin Moore with Lewis Woodall all over the bumper of Austin Moore as well. Heller going for the lead. Going into 1 and 2. Some great battles going on here with around 15 laps to go. Chris Heller on the inside of Jake Miller. And Christopher Heller take over the race lead back from the number 4 of Jake Miller. These two have been going back and forth for around the last 50 laps for the race lead. It's been a great battle between them. And Heller once again sends it through 3 and 4. I don't know how. I've seen him do that move a couple of different times into 3 and 4. I don't know how he makes his truck just stick so perfectly on the entrance of the corner. He just has the greatest entrance to 3 and 4 out of everybody I've seen today. He just makes that truck stick so perfectly. And the racing continues around the 5th and 6th spot. Austin Moore has fallen back to 8th at this point. Eric Kep has moved himself up to 19th. That makes it very close on points. They're only 10 points apart coming into the race. And now they're only 11 spots apart. This is getting very close as Austin Moore continues to try to get back into that 7th spot as he battles with Matthew Rodriguez. That could be the difference between him making the playoffs and him not making the playoffs, that battle with Matthew Rodriguez. Looks like Tyrell Baker has exited the race. You hate to see it. Baker, driver that's had a lot of speed all night, and he has speed pretty much anywhere we go, making a rare appearance in the Great Lakes Series. Hate to see him exit the race early, but he had a great performance in the 0.25. Looks like he'll probably come home in the 27th position. you continue to watch Austin Moore as he tries to fight for his playoff life. Running in the 7th spot right now. Eric Kep currently running in 19th. Matthew Rodriguez and Lewis Woodall right in behind him. Not too far behind him, you have Matthew Durr and RJ Williams as well. We haven't really mentioned RJ Williams that much today. We mentioned him earlier after possible contact with the wall, but ever since, we haven't mentioned him at all today. And we know how fast he is anywhere we go. So he might be able to get up there and challenge Austin Moore and just make him lose a little bit more points. The front four have kind of separated themselves. It looks like Burkusky's trying to get back into that 3rd spot here. Good battles going on here at the front of the field here. 1st through 4th. The 225-11 drivers down low right here. Miller and Henderson working together as well. Burkusky's going to finally complete the pass on Henderson right there for the 3rd spot. Able to jump up in front of him. Miller trying to break that draft down the back straightaway from Jake Miller. Trying to maybe separate himself a little bit on possibly the last run of the day. Coming to 11 laps to go here this time by. Do we get another caution before this race is up? A little over 10 laps to go. Austin Moore looking to snag a couple more spots here. He was able to hold off Rodriguez for now, and now he sets his sights on Gavin Fitzgerald and Josh Cottle. I know Fitzgerald is not going to make that easy. Eric Kep is Fitzgerald's teammate, so he's going to be fighting Austin Moore hard. He's not going to give him this spot that easy. Austin Moore able to complete the pass on Josh Cottle for now. Eric Kep has moved himself up to 18th. As here comes Austin Moore to the inside of Gavin Fitzgerald. Ten laps remaining here at Michigan International. Austin Moore looking to get himself up into the top 5. Came into this race 10 points outside of the playoff window. Eric Kep came into this race on the playoff bubble. He currently runs in the 18th position. Fitzgerald gets a great run off the corner with the help from Josh Cottle. Here comes Matthew Rodriguez as well. Austin Moore needs to get in front of one of these drivers before he possibly loses all 3 of these spots. Here comes Lewis Woodall as well in the number 13 machine. Fitzgerald currently still in front of Austin Moore here. Not missing anything up at the front. The front 4 have separated themselves by almost a full second back to Gavin Fitzgerald. Look to be settling it between themselves up there. Austin Moore not able to get in front of Cottle right there. Now Josh Cottle's going to try to complete the pass on Austin Moore. This is what I was worried about. Now Austin Moore really has to fight hard to get to that high side, or then he's going to lose the spot possibly to Matthew Rodriguez as well. And then if he loses the spot to Rodriguez, he might lose the spot to Woodall. So he really needs to find a way to get to that high side, whether that's in front of Cottle or in front of Rodriguez. Eric Kep has moved himself up to the 17th spot. This is going to be super close on points, the way this is running right now. Austin Moore not able to get the run off the corner whatsoever. Look like Miller might have gotten into the wall or something. He's really slow coming down the back straightaway. Look, he looked like he did. He did get into the wall coming off turn 2 that last time by. Jake Miller, and now he's slow on the high side in the number 4 machine. Him and Heller both got up into the wall almost. It looked like Heller barely kept it off the wall and had to slow down, and Burkuski and Henderson were able to get past them both. Burkuski takes the race lead. Henderson moves into 2nd. Heller falls back to 3rd. This battle now for the win is going to be between this front 3 unless we get a caution. And could that contact with the wall from Miller end up helping out Austin Moore? Can Austin Moore maybe snag a couple more spots before the end of this race? He's currently running in 7th. Eric Kep has moved himself up to 16th in the number 63 machine. Only a couple of laps left in the regular season. Do these drivers keep it clean and green? Here comes a battle for the lead. 3 wide almost. Wow. Almost heavy contact. Henderson dove to the inside. Heller tried to make it 3 wide, and Henderson threw a crazy block on the number 11 machine, able to keep himself in front of Heller. Great job from Henderson and Heller, able to keep it straight. 6 laps remaining. 5 laps to go this time by. This front 3 is battling hard. The two 25-11 drivers versus Bobby Carter here at Michigan International. They're going to do a great side draft right here. Henderson doing a great side draft off the number 25. Able to pull the 25 back a little bit and push himself up front a little bit going in to turns 1 and 2. Can he clear Burkuski this time by going through the corner? He's going to try his best to come up in front of him. He will. He will come up in front of him, barely clear of the 25. 5 laps remaining. Can the 25-11 drivers get back past him? Not missing anything right now when it comes to Austin Moore, currently running in that 6th spot. Eric Koepp currently in 16th for the playoff battle. Elliot Henderson looking to hold off Brandon Burkuski and get this win. Burkuski going to go to the inside. Can he clear him through the corner? Burkuski trying to make his truck stick on the very bottom. Henderson not giving him a lot of space. Great racing from Henderson off the corner. He's able to hold on to the lead for now. Burkuski's going to have to jump right back in behind him. No, he will not. Heller's going to give him a push, actually go into the corner. He gives him a bump going into the corner. Burkuski not quite able to clear him going through the corner. So close there. 3 laps remaining. 3 laps remaining for this front 3. Who snags the victory? Who makes it into the playoffs? Here comes Heller. Heller's trying to get in front of Henderson, not quite able to there. Burkuski's trying to help out his teammate. Burkuski trying to give his teammate Heller the draft going into 3 and 4. We know how strong Heller is on the entrance of 3 and 4. Can he clear him here? Not quite able to here. Burkuski's beginning to gap these two as they continue to battle it out. 2 laps remaining. Do we make it back around to the white flag? Austin Moore currently battling it out for 5th right now and 4th. That could be the difference between him making the playoffs or not. Eric Koepp runs in 16th. There's contact. Contact between Heller and Henderson. There goes Austin Moore. Austin Moore is spinning. He saves it. Oh my goodness. This is some insane racing right here. Henderson and Heller make contact and Burkuski's going to pull away. Will they make it to the white flag? White flag is in the air for Brandon Burkuski. This race is now official. This is the last lap of the regular season. Who will get second here between Heller and Henderson as they continue to battle it out? Austin Moore currently runs in 7th. Eric Koepp has moved himself up to 15th. Heller and Henderson battling it out for the 2nd spot. Oh, and they're almost wrecking off the back straightaway. Almost heavy contact there. They're able to keep it straight for now. They're going to come off turns 3 and 4. And Brandon Burkuski is going to lead him to the checkered flag as Brandon Burkuski gets the win here at Michigan International. Austin Moore will come home in the 7th position. Looks like Eric Koepp is going to come home in 15th. 16th, actually. Nanny gets past him off the corner. Looks like Eric Koepp might barely make it on points. Don't quote me on that, but it's going to be very close. Brandon Burkuski gets the win. It looked like there might have been some disagreement between Matt Durr and Sam Hoff after the race. They got into it off the corner. Not sure what happened there. Here comes Brandon Burkuski. He's going to come down to the start finish line and burn it down in the number 25 machine. Great race from Brandon Burkusky. Able to come back from that restart violation, get himself into victory lane here today. Great job from Brandon Burkusky, driver of the number 25 for 2511 Racing. Snags a victory here today. Great race from him. And I can't believe he made the comeback. That was a phenomenal comeback from Burkusky. A great job from him, able to get himself in victory lane here today. A wonderful performance. I'm just taking a look at the points right here. Because Brandon Burkusky, technically, I think the rule is top 25 in points with a win, lock themselves in. He's pretty far back from top 25 coming into this race, but it's going to be interesting to look at it and see where he is in the points at the end of this race. I think we're going to try to maybe get some interviews here in a few moments here at Michigan International Speedway as the number 25 Brandon Burkusky is in victory lane. I think we're going to bring in our third place finisher first, Mr. Elliot Henderson, the driver of the number 37, aka Mr. Bobby Carter.
Nanny.
Elliot Henderson, Kyle up in the booth, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Elliot, great race, man. What was maybe going through your mind on those last few laps, that last run to the finish right there?
Wishing that I had anybody that wasn't a 2511 affiliated driver around me. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Feels good to get a top 5 again, but man, anybody else that was there, I think we had the truck, but kudos to Brandon and Chris for working it out and doing what they needed to do to make sure one of them won. But yeah, just wish Jake didn't get messed up by that incident, or there was a way that I could have somehow done something to beat both of them.
Yeah, there was definitely some craziness in that race. What was maybe going through your mind those last couple laps? I saw you made some contact with Chris Heller there in those last couple laps. Were both you just really trying to get after it there and try to get up there and get the win?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying a little bit too hard. I was trying to pinch him down, see if I can get him to lift and actually back out of it completely, because I didn't want to come off the corner side by side with him. And I felt like if I could have done that, broken away from him, and then drafted up to Brandon, I could have maybe done something. But I knew no matter what I did with Brandon, Chris wasn't going to go with me, so it was kind of a deadbeat situation for me. It is what it is. The draft is a little bit too strong here with the trucks to be able to do something when you've got 2 guys working against one. But it was a fun battle. It was a good time. I'm glad Brandon was able to find his way back up there. It's going to be a good little story because he had that penalty and everything. So it'll be cool to talk about that for a while.
That was definitely an enjoyable race to watch. Definitely a lot of crazy stuff and a lot of good racing for sure. And are you looking forward to the playoffs now? You can really set your focus to the playoffs at this point, Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, we had a string of top 5s for the first 3 races that I ran the season, first, fourth, fifth, and then 2 23rd place finishes after running top 5, top 10 in both of those at the time that I got taken out. So, this gives us a little bit of a boost of momentum. And I look forward to, I think Darlington's next. I don't really particularly like Darlington, but I think we'll run solidly enough there to kind of boost ourselves a little bit going forward. And we'll just have to see how these playoff rounds unfold. But looking forward to come back defending, trying to get number 4 here and see how next week goes.
Before we let you go for the evening, Elliot, once again, I want to congratulate you on your 3rd place finish. But anybody you want to thank for your performance out there tonight, Elliot?
I haven't done this in a while, so thank you guys for the broadcasts. Always fun to go back and watch. I'm sure there was a good bit of action tonight, so it'll be nice to go back. And I know you were working it alone, so mega appreciations to you, Kyle, for sticking it out here all by yourself. Thank you to all the admins that put this on: Eric, Sam, Chris, Brandon, RJ, Michael Levine, who works our race director role. Everybody that's involved in this series, that makes it a ton of fun. We get great car counts. It's a lot of competition and super fun. And then thanks to all my teammates. I think we put Jake in the playoffs, so that was the other goal coming in here, was make sure that number 4 truck is playoff worthy again. Try to get him a championship or get us a 1-2 finish in the points like we used to do back in the day. So we'll see if he'll be bridesmaid, in about 5 or 6 weeks here or not. But thank you to all those guys that always put in the effort. That's Jake Miller, Briar Fritz, Austin Moore, Matthew Durr, Michael Sensi. I believe that's everyone. I hope I'm not missing anyone. We sign people all the time, but if I am missing you, I love you. You're still my best friend. It's okay. But yeah, all the E95 esports boys, and we'll see how next week goes. And yeah, that's about it. Actually, I do want to say one more thing. Apologies to Daniel Nanny. I don't know if he is gonna end up rewatching this or anything, and I was just rewatching the incident. I just felt like he came across my nose. I just want to make sure that he was, aware that I'd had no ill intent on that, and I hate the fact that even happened because he's always fun to race around. He's one of the hardest competitors out here, very Ryan Newman-like. So sucks that I got into him, and I hope I didn't really kill his night that bad. But look forward to racing him next week and moving forward, and definitely didn't intend to cause what that ended up being.
Well, we appreciate you speaking with us, Elliot, and we hope to speak to you again in 2 weeks' time after Darlington.
Yep, thanks, guys.
And of course, have a great night, Elliot. Okay, now I think we're going to try to bring in our second place finisher, Mr. Christopher Heller, driver of the number 11. Christopher Heller, Kyle Short up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Chris, that was a great race, man. What was maybe going through your mind those last few laps? Was the main goal for at least one of you two to get to victory lane, either you or Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that was my mindset because I wanted to at least, since I was kind of like out of a shot at winning after me and Jake tangled, my goal was to at least give the opportunity to have a conversation of Brandon being in the playoffs, but Brandon doesn't, me and Brandon were talking after the race, he doesn't feel like he deserves to be in, but I feel like he does, and I feel like it should be an admin vote, but who knows what we're gonna do with that, but I'm glad I was able to push Brandon to the win. I wish me and Elliot could have kept those last few laps a little bit cleaner. I had to lift for him one time going into turn one, and then we made contact in turn one later with like 2 or 3 laps to go, and Brandon was just gone at that point.
Yeah, 2511 as a whole looked really strong today. All five of your trucks looked really, really strong out there tonight. Anything you have to say about that? You guys really worked on this track or what?
And I was the only one who didn't practice, so I was surprised that I was the one leading the charge most of the night, but I was happy to hear that Brandon, Jordan, Zach, and Matt all put in time this week to have a strong run. We qualified for all our trucks in like the top 7. We all started in like the top 7, so that was pretty awesome to see. And yeah, I wish I was able to get the win, but I think this is like what my second place finish this season.
Something like that. You've been very close to snagging that win. You and your teammate Zach Henry, you've been very close all season long. Are you looking forward to Darlington at all? I remember talking to Elliot a second ago. He says he's not really necessarily a big fan of Darlington. How do you feel about Darlington?
Well, I won the Winter Series race at Darlington, but I didn't feel good going into that race. But I'm gonna put in a little practice, see if I can't replicate what I did at Darlington and the Winter Series with the ARCA car when I won that with this nice, beautiful Tundra.
I did just check the stats though. That is your fourth second place finish of the season. So hopefully you can switch that around here soon, Chris. But anybody you have to thank for your performance out there tonight?
Yeah, again, I gotta thank 2511. Brandon, of course, winning the race after having that restart violation, which we both feel was not correct, but we'll talk to race control after the race about that. But I'm glad Brandon was able to get the win. Thank you to Zach, Jordan, Matt, all for being here each and every week. And I'm looking forward to the playoffs because I think I ended up winning the regular season champ if I'm not mistaken. But I'd have to go and look at the points after this race. I haven't looked at the points yet.
You are the regular season champ, Mr. Chris
All
Heller.
right, awesome.
You had a great season. You and your teammate Zach Henry are battling for the points lead pretty much all season. You're able to come out on top, and now we're looking forward to Darlington. Looking forward to possibly speaking to you next week, Chris. Thank you for speaking to us.
Yep, thank you.
Of course. Now I think we're going to try to bring in our race winner, Mr. Brandon Burkusky, driver of the number 25. Brandon, Kyle Short up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, how's it going, Kyle?
Going pretty well, but not as well for you, man. What was maybe going through your mind those last few laps? You were pretty clear after Henderson and Heller had made a little contact. Were you just hoping that everybody would keep it clean and green at that point?
Yeah, that definitely was the thought. I wasn't going to go out there and try to wreck anybody. I think I've done that a couple of times and made kind of a butt out of myself. I won't swear. So I've done that too many times. Didn't want to do that anymore. I'm glad I did it clean. But I'm going to poke some fun at Michael. That was definitely not a penalty what happened to me, but I get it. He's only human. So we got black flagged and we're all the way back in the pack. Just got lucky. Cautions fell. I knew we were fast enough to climb back up. That's the moral of the story. That's what happened.
Yeah, it was a very impressive run. You and your teammate Jordan Gonzalez were making runs through the field after incidents that you had. Your incident, of course, being the black flag that you had to come down pit road for, and it was a very impressive run from you, Brandon. What was maybe going through your mind with maybe I think it was like 15 or 20 laps to go? All four of you were under a blanket. You, Heller, Henderson, and Miller. What was maybe going through your mind in that sort of situation?
Yeah, we were thinking fuel, but then we figured out we saved enough. I think Chris did the right thing by letting kind of Jake go out there for a couple laps and make him kind of burn up some more. So that was our big concern there. And I got by Elliot. I kind of slide jobbed him. I forget if it was in turn 3 or turn 1. I honestly God forget. But I knew when I got by him, anything was possible. And then Jake got into Heller, and you got to pounce when the opportunity presents itself. And I was just in the right spot at the right time. But honestly, I feel like if the penalty didn't happen, we probably maybe would have led more laps than Heller. I think I definitely was one of the fastest trucks, even from the early going.
Yeah, I was mentioning to Chris that all five 2511 trucks looked really strong from the drop of the green flag here tonight. You were mentioning the contact with Miller and Heller. I forgot to really ask Chris about that, but what did you really see there with the contact between Jake and Chris? And it looked like Miller had gotten up into the wall because of the incident as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for the win, right? They're going to be aggressive. I guess I don't know. I'm going to side with my teammate. I think the Jake is pressing a little bit. He hasn't won, and first of all, we all know Jake's a darn good race car driver. He's one of the best in the league. It's kind of a shock that he hasn't won, but maybe if he came to 2511, he would have won. Maybe if he had a better engine in his truck, he'd probably have one by now. But I think that's really what it was. What was happening was Jake was just pressing a little bit too much, and he probably knows it too. Heller wasn't too happy, but Heller did a darn good job rallying back to second, and we got the 1-2 25-11 finish.
That was some great racing from you too. And anybody you have to thank before we let you go here, Brandon?
Yeah, unfortunately, she's not here on the world with us anymore, but sponsor on my truck goes out to my cousin Leah. She wasn't even 32, and we unfortunately recently lost her to colon cancer. It's really horrifying. It's something that runs in my family. It's taken both my grandparents, one from each side, and definitely going to dedicate this win to this the whole society, the colorectal cancer alliance. Can't even speak. They're on my truck, and they will be for the entire season. Just going to dedicate this entire season to that. So really, really, really happy I won this. I have not won a truck race in this league since 2020. So that was definitely her riding with me tonight for sure.
Anytime you're out here, Brandon, I see you working real hard, try to get that victory. You're an aggressive race car driver, but sometimes a little over aggressive and sometimes just the right amount. And I think that was the thing here tonight. And I'm sorry to
Uh,
hear that. And cancer is a scary thing. I've dealt with it pretty much my whole life when it comes to people around me. So I kind of get what you're going through.
yeah, and for sure, and just to put it on the public record too, I know I've definitely made some boneheaded moves, and that's something I'm really trying to work on too. And I think the finishes are going to show a lot more too, and I'm going to become a way more consistent driver. Is just just taking the truck, whatever the truck gives you, that's where you come home instead of trying to press. And something I'm really trying to take to heart, and hopefully, I won't piss as many people off anymore as I have done in the past.
Well, you definitely had a great run tonight, Brandon. You definitely deserve to be in victory lane, especially after coming back from that penalty. And once again, congratulations on your win, man. Go out there and celebrate.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Of course, Brandon. I think that'll do it right there. Brandon Burkuski able to come home with the victory. We're going to go through the finishing order. Then we're going to touch up on the playoffs. Brandon Burkuski able to, of course, come home in victory lane. Chris Heller in second. You have Henderson in third. Fitzgerald in fourth. Matthew Rodriguez comes home in fifth. Josh Cottle in sixth. Austin Moore fighting for his playoff life in seventh. Sam Hoff, a very impressive run in eighth place, coming back from his multiple incidents, able to get home a top 10. Jake Miller in ninth, Lewis Woodall in 10th. Onto the next slide. In the 11th spot, you have Matthew Durr after possible contact late. You have RJ Williams in 12th. Eric Kep looking to hang on to that last spot in 15th. Hunter Brittle comes home 16th. Unfortunately, will not make the playoffs. You have Matt Daniels after a strong run, comes home 18th. And Aiden DuPont rounding out your top 20. And then on to the next slide, you have Shane Neiswanger in the 21st spot. Brett King caught back here in 22nd. You hate to see it for Jordan Gonzalez. Had a lot of damage on that number 3 machine. Just has 3 straight very unlucky weeks to end out the regular season, and unfortunately will miss out on the playoffs. Frederick Cremines was fighting to maybe get that playoff spot late. Ended up having some incidents late and comes home 24th. You have Tyrell Baker back there in 27th. Henry back in 25th, by the way. Hunter Madolinas back in 29th. Unfortunately, misses out on the playoffs. And Nathan Nicholson in 30th, and on to the final slide, you have William Barbagelata in 31st, Ashton Lawson in 32nd. Stafford, who looked really strong early, comes home 33rd. Tellier in 34th ends out your field. Now I'm gonna talk about the playoffs real quick. We're gonna go over that bubble real quick. Very close on that bubble. End up being only 2 points separating the 2 drivers that end up making the playoffs. Eric Kep ended up making the playoffs by only 2 points over Austin Moore. Very close battle between those two. Eric Kep ends up being the last driver to make it in on points, the 12th and final driver in the playoffs, Mr. Eric Kep. Nathan Nicholson, Zach Henry, and Jake Miller, of course, also able to lock up spots. Chris Heller as well, able to lock up spots. All of them able to lock up spots here tonight. They were not locked in coming in, and they all locked in now. The top 12 coming in are the top 12 that will be fighting for a championship starting in 2 weeks' time at Darlington. The Lady in Black. Great place to start off the playoffs. Go to Darlington. The week after that, we go to Watkins Glen. And then we go to Richmond to end out the round of 12. And on to the round of 8, we have Kansas Speedway. Then we got Dover Motor Speedway. And then we got Martinsville ending out the round of 8. And then on to the final race, the championship race, Atlanta Motor Speedway, to finish off the season for the Great Lakes Truck Series on June 14th here on the Flatout Racing Network. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of the regular season finale, the Patti Engineering 200 here at Michigan International Speedway. I'd like to once again congratulate Brandon Burkuski, driver of the number 25 for 2511 Racing, on his victory here tonight at Michigan International. And we hope to see you in 2 weeks' time right here on the Flatout Racing Network for Darlington as we start off the round of 12 of the Great Lakes Truck Series. Have a great night, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Flatout Racing Network.